right, it's 12 o'clock. Let's call the Economic Development Authority regular meeting for Wednesday, April 26th to order, please. Please call roll.
Foxalinski.
Here.
Black.
Here.
Sig.
Here.
Brady.
Here.
Peck.
Here.
Orkin.
Here.
Allen.
Here.
Perfect. Approved minutes from meeting on 3/18/26.
We'll move. Second.
Please call roll.
Don't need roll.
We won't do it then. Bills and communications.
All in favor.
All in favor? Move on.
I like how you run a meeting.
Yeah. Bills and communications. Any questions? Again, Carla would be the one to ask. Nothing earth-shattering? Good?
Good.
Thank you. Reports, delinquencies. She
There's
loves
none.
this. Director's reports.
Okay. So it's been a busy past few weeks between the Simplot property coming into ownership and looking at ways that we can use it to the best capacity. And then also Minnesota Housing seems to have unleashed multiple housing programs all at the same time. So we've had a lot of different interests in those and looking at how they fit and then trying to gauge feedback from the mayor and city administrator if they are applicable. So we've had a lot of meetings with Baker Tilly on how TIF works and if TIF can fit our community. So if we can't use it on Simplot, at least we have it as a tool in our toolbox, along with tax abatement. And then, let's see. Oh, yeah, I forgot. I went to Minneapolis last week and testified for the state Senate tax committee for the border cities bill that we put in last year and then the one that we put in this year. So it went favorably. There was no questions or posturing or any sort of awkwardness, so they have it laid over, and the next step will be it'll go to the House Tax Committee for review. So fingers crossed that goes well, and we might get another opportunity to testify on that as well.
Any questions on director's reports? All right, financial reports. Carla.
Thank you. Everybody was emailed the activity for each fund, and then in the packet we have just the cash funds. And there still is there's not much work to be done for the audit. We will have a report for you in June on the audit, but as you can see from the cash balances, again, the only one is that the EDA general, we do a transfer at year end for that, so that's why it's in the negative. And then all the other ones are in the positive. And then just a note that those Fund 634 and Fund 636, the EDA discretionary loan fund and the EDA restricted discretionary loan, they did get interest attached to them, so those are the new balances.
Will we also see the interest generated, that secondary interest, also slide into the microloan fund, or was it just a one-time?
It was all a one-time thing, but they did get both. Yes, they got both. We do an interest allocation by the balance of the fund throughout the year. We take the average, and then we also moved that balance from those other funds to there. So, questions?
Any
Comments?
questions for Carla? Thank you, Carla.
Thank you.
Social media report.
Okay, so we hit a new high score, which is exciting. Brenda interviewed Matt Stengel, and his post actually outperformed our Northdale one, which was our highest ranking one. Northdale had 22,800 views and 87 likes, and Matt's post had 27,000 views and 90 likes, which is very exciting. So had a ton of shares. Overall, I'm very impressed at how our content is performing, especially since it's all organic and there's no boosting or ad content or ad funds added to it. It's just strictly true interaction from real people. So, for instance, our last year, or 2024 total followers, when I first started, we had 595 followers, and we are now up to 1,239. So people like what we're putting down, and they are reading it and engaging with it. Ton of sharing. I think Brenda's strategy of getting like the business owner story and then having the family pictures in like makes people get integrated into it, and they get excited about seeing like the people that they know. So it's working really well. If there's any feedback or thoughts, I'd be happy to take them too.
Thank you, Brenda.
Yeah, good job. Whoop, whoop. Unfinished business, infield lease, tenant lease renewal.
Okay, so the loan committee reviewed this a few weeks ago, and I think we've come to a good solution. So we looked at what they're paying, and the margins that are from the restaurant industry are pretty small. So if it's okay with the board, the recommendation would be to keep the rent at $10.50 a square foot for the next 5 years, with plans to review at the next term renewal. And then the loan committee also recommended considering making any sort of improvements to the facility, since it hasn't had too much in terms of aesthetics redone. So the information that I received feedback from was, the first ones I put were about safety and code and energy related, and then the ones on the back were more just aesthetic. So I don't know if there is interest for us to follow through with any of these, but she did mention that the signage is kind of an issue because it is hard to see, and we didn't know if that was reducing like the number of people attending or going to the restaurant. So I guess if you guys have any thoughts or feedback.
Typically signage, when I've been a part of other organizations that have done that, that would
Fall
I
on them.
feel that's not on the city.
Sure.
When I hear updates, I think like the shared spaces, like when you walk in that building and some of that. But
Outside lighting.
outside, yeah, that kind of thing. But I guess I'd be less inclined as a EDA to fund a sign, because I think everybody's going to come knocking then.
Probably.
I own the sign on the backside.
Yeah. Yeah, that's typical, I think, business, even if you're a renter, like that's on you.
Okay.
Yeah, because you bought it,
Yeah.
you maintain it.
We can, if there's any programs to help her get some funds to update that, I would suggest that's a great path, but.
Kind of like that micro.
Microloan, yeah.
That's my take on it,
I
but
would agree.
I'm in favor of the lease terms, I guess.
Do we have a second?
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Okay, Water's Edge lots, sales approach
Okay.
something.
Okay, let's see here. So we also have Isaiah here from Live Real Grant, and he can help answer questions too if there's anything that I don't know the answer. But attached is a sample of the listing contract. It's exactly the same as the ones we had before. It's required that each lot be on its own separate contract. And then we also looked into that $3,000, I can't remember, it was like a compensation. I don't remember the correct term for it. But that was also in, what is it?
Is it commission? Or?
Yeah, I think so. And that was integrated in there per what the council and board decided prior to getting realtors. And then there was a request to have it with the URL to reflect an EGF-based one, but since it's going to be underneath the Live Real Grant, the brokerage can't do that because that would violate how they list their properties. And then for the drone flyovers, Isaiah will just go out that day that they're flying over and knock on the door and say, hey, can we fly over? And if they're not there, then I guess your thing is waived. So any thoughts or questions?
What happens if someone says, no, you can't fly, and you have my property
Sure, yeah, we would just go from a different angle. We do it a lot. We work with the staff at UND for their marketing program, so they're very familiar with any guidelines or things like that. So it would just, yeah, if one neighbor didn't want it, we just go from the angle that you couldn't see him, so.
Is that necessary? They have to do that? Or is it just a courtesy?
I think it's more of a courtesy.
Courtesy thing, yeah.
Because, any other drone photography, we don't normally ask each individual neighbor, but I think if you guys want that as a courtesy, we can certainly do so.
I'm just curious because I've seen other realtors do.
Yeah, it's
videos
not.
on homes and they pan out and they get a whole neighborhood. Get a
Yeah.
whole
I
Yeah.
don't think there's any restrictions. I mean,
No.
go on this thing.
You can find. Yeah, it was more, I think, a courtesy from you guys, but it wasn't anything on our end that we would do that, no.
Yeah, I don't know if it's necessary, to be honest with you, if we want to skip a step. I know we mentioned it in the meeting, the loan committee meeting, but, I mean, if you're not showcasing that property, it's going to be in the background or whatever, I'm assuming.
Correct,
So
yep.
Yeah,
And
I think you
everybody-
get into trouble if you're like, this is going to be your neighbor. And you're
Doing a peep and Tom flyby.
I mean, everything that he's talking about is available on the GIS.
Yes.
Turn around and click GIS, and
Yeah.
it gives me the whole neighborhood,
Yeah.
gives me your house, front and back.
Yeah. You can pretty much find out anything about anyone at any
Yeah.
point, but yes, as a courtesy, if you guys wanted it, we would do it, so.
I guess
I agree.
I don't think so either. I mean, to take the time to knock on 30 doors or 20 doors or whatever.
You'd
it's
be
gonna
done.
get into- I mean, we're wasting time and we're looking at this of trying to get things marketed to sell our lots. I don't foresee,
So is that a motion?
do we need a motion for it?
Yep.
I'll make the motion that we don't have to, that they don't have to knock on
Yep, we
doors.
need a motion. I put my glasses on and can see.
To change to the list agent for a year.
Yeah, to change consider changing the listing agent on a single realtor for 1 year trial.
Yeah, I'll move.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed, same sign? Go fly.
All right.
And we could share feedback too, so if there's something you see that you don't like or you want to give constructive feedback, Isaiah will do a good job and change it or fix it.
Yeah, because I think we're down to 10 or 12?
Yeah.
Somewhere in that neighborhood.
I think 10-ish.
Yep.
Can't remember off the top of my head.
No, that's what I have
You
in
get
my
all 10
head
homes
too.
sold by July 1st, we appreciate it.
Yes, then we don't have to mow the lawn.
Thank you.
If you see some weeds, pull them, please.
Awesome. Thank you,
Thank
guys.
Thanks, guy. All right, new business. TIF and tax abatement subsidies.
Okay, so when we met with Baker Tilly, they did say that in our 2016 business subsidies policy, so the one that predates the last one that we approved in 2024, it mentions TIF and tax abatement, but it does not describe the use or protocol. It just mentions it very loosely in the top paragraph. So this request would be for a full integration of adding both of these economic tools of tax increment financing and tax abatement into our current business subsidies policy. So the reason why we're looking at these is we haven't done a TIF district since 1988, so it's been a very long time. And they can be used completely at our discretion, judiciously, with a lot of cross-checking and due diligence to make sure that the developer is not overstating what they can do, because we've seen that. We've seen failed TIF districts, and I think that's why people are very anxious about them, is somebody will give you a great idea, and it's not doable on paper or in real life. So that's where those red flags come from. When TIF doesn't work, there's the opportunity to then do a tax abatement, and TIF can't apply for market rate housing, office, retail. So it could be something that there's a business that comes in, and we really want to retain them. We want them to grow. They're a great fit, say it's some sort of relevant ag company, but TIF doesn't apply. This is where tax abatement, we could offer them so many years of an abatement. So per the statute, we can do up to 15 years, but it typically defaults to 8. it has to go through the three entities, city, county, and school. If one of them is like, no, we're out, then it defaults to the 20-year duration. But then if they're like, just kidding, we want to get back in, then it goes and it subtracts a year for every year that that entity rejoins. So it does have some flexibility. You can decide how much you want to abate. So the only difficult part with tax abatement is that company will have to go through the requests at each entity and make their business proposal public and speak with them and say, hey, we want your feedback, we want your buy-in. So whereas TIF can be done by the city in about 45 to 60 days. It does not require going through the school district in the county. So these are two helpful tools that we can have and use whenever we need. If we want to add this in.
Does this give you another tool in your toolbox to use?
Yes.
Okay.
Especially when it comes to the new lots.
Yes.
Yes. And we're looking at other parcels in town to potentially buy that are held by non-private entities. And if there's an opportunity for developing them, we could potentially use TIF for some infrastructure or some utilities. So it does give us some flexibility. But we want to be conservative and smart because we don't want failed ones like there are in Chicago.
I'll make the motion to add this TIF and tax abatement to our subsidy policy then.
Can you say that number?
I will make the motion to add the TIF and tax abatement policy, or to our subsidy policies.
There you go.
Okay.
Need a second?
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Thank you. Upcoming events.
So we've been very busy with DEED and the Chamber, which just is good because it aligns with some of our strategic plan initiatives. So the first one is the foundation reached out. They're doing a business succession planning. So we're going to be a satellite location for a live streamed event, and hopefully businesses will attend that are thinking of exiting, retiring, changing ownership. They just want to quit. So this would give them some great training and information from like subject matter experts on how they can do that without just closing the door, locking it, and closing the business permanently, because we don't want that. So the Chamber has been an awesome partner in letting us host the event there, and they're going to provide lunch and the live streaming capability. So that goes from 9:15 to 12:30 on May 6th. It's free. Then I've been working with Northland Workforce Development Solutions and DEED to do feedback from the manufacturing and construction industry to find out what are they struggling with in terms of employment and workforce. Because we're hearing that we hire someone and they don't stay for the training, or we can't find anybody, and staffing companies don't have the right people to supply. So if we can get kind of some triangulated issues, then we could potentially apply for state workforce funding to then use as a partnership with the college to make some programs, or maybe DEED can change some of their programs. So that will be on June 3rd, and there will be a free breakfast with that. So that will also be at Northland Community College. So please attend that. More information and invite to come. And then the Chamber reached out to us, and they want DEED to do a brown bag lunch on June 16th. That one's $20. That's the only one with a charge. But that will have Chet, our representative from the Northwest region, me, and then Sam Jensen, who used to be at Young Professionals. He was a contender for this role. He is on the inside now, and he helps us because he is at DEED. So he will be talking with Chet about different programs that businesses in our community can apply for and consider for different programs they have, and then I'll just fill in on like what we do. So it'd be great if you guys could attend some, all, or at least even encourage people to go to these.
Anything else?
I just have one question. As far as that Simplot land, how far away are we from being able to either parcel that or look at selling it, getting things moving on that land?
I wish I had an answer, and Dale might be able to speak to it better. To my knowledge, so far, council has seen the potential for what it could look like in terms of the
Renderings.
MnDOT entrance and how it could have commercial in the front and residential in the back, where the drainage could go, but they have not made any action or decisions.
So it's-
I don't know if the city's really done anything for plotting range on it yet or not.
No, they haven't
Yeah,
platted
they
anything
haven't
because
done
what they're
anything.
actually looking for, from my understanding,
A developer.
is interest in developing it first, and if there's different individuals and what their plan would be to develop it before they do any type of parceling up or whatever, or dividing it, commercial, highway, or multi-purpose residential.
So you don't have to do it 3 times.
Yeah, so what you end up doing is you do it specifically for the developer, and then they have just kind of, correct me if I'm wrong, but they have kind of just a markup
Yeah.
that they have out there. So there's going to be a wastewater, we'll just say a drainage pond. Well, that could be relocated in a different location. They're still discussing with American Crystal Sugar if there needs to be a relocation of that wastewater pipe that goes through there, because it kind of dissects it at an angle. So it's in the works,
Yeah.
but there hasn't been any firm plans in place, or even, well, that would be past me, but developer picked or
Yeah, I would say if
discussed.
a developer wants or has interest in that land to develop a plan, and they can just bring it to the city, and I think as a council, we can review it. That's probably something that they can come to EDA about as well. We really can't do anything until we have some sort of a plan.
Correct.
With
Which is
that-
understandable.
With that land, and, multiple developers may have different ideas of what they want to do with that land. We have a general idea of, we don't want anything residential on the highway side of it, residential on the other side, but if the developer came with, some big plan, we, review it.
And if I'm mistaken, let me know, but I think there was some minor discussions, at least from the city standpoint, of putting out some type of a request for proposal to different developers to see if anybody has an interest, and if so, what it would be. I don't know if they've gotten, or it's gotten.
I've drafted a very loose one, but I think council, and correct me if I'm wrong, they want to meet with developers individually to then decide how to shape the full RFP.
Yeah, I don't know.
But
part of it.
over 75% have said we need some sort of financial assistance to make it pencil out. So I don't know if that will cause issues for council, if there's,
Money always does.
I know,
Is it zoned industrial, commercial, residential?
All the above.
it's mixed, I think, yeah.
It's mixed unit?
Mixed unit.
Okay.
Well, but anyway,
About it, but nothing definite.
I don't remember any large project in the city that we've ever done, or fairly large project, that there wasn't some type of financial incentive that was
To make
tied
it.
to it.
Right.
It just happens.
They go across the river, they're doing it.
Well, you're just not gonna
To compete.
Yeah.
And whether it's the city or the state or whatever, that most developers at least can't afford to, basically do a project that they, without some type of assistance,
Right.
financial assistance.
And I think Maggie and Reed have been looking to see if there's an assistant especially for utilities, infrastructure for that area, because that would, cover a lot, including that wastewater pipe. So they are looking at that.
20 feet underground or something like that.
Yeah.
A lot of concrete that's got to get out of there and stuff too.
Oh, yeah, from
Yeah.
those old
Yeah.
pads, I think that would be minor.
We'll dig down with a shovel and save money, right, Benny?
Yeah.
So in an ideal situation, TIF would apply, but the advisors have told us, because there are no substandard buildings on the parcel, it does not apply for the 50% dispersion of busted and broken down buildings. So that kind of hinders it, because the plan was if a TIF could work, then we could apply for the redevelopment grant, and that would allow for us to remove those existing foundations and get it kind of shovel ready, and then we could have like an anchor project. So we're still trying to figure out how to best approach this.
Because those are for blighted properties, right?
Yeah.
Some of them that you're talking about.
Yeah, and then we have to check with the animal activists and see if we
Oh.
can relocate the gophers.
Dynamite. One stick of dynamite.
That's
I feel like you're volunteering to chair that committee.
Huh?
I feel like you're volunteering to chair that committee.
Well, Reed's already had the discussion with the people, so
Yeah.
they're aware of it.
Anything else?
That's all I have.
Motion to adjourn.
I'll make the motion.
All in favor? All opposed? Brenda? Thank you, everyone.